Much love to my hardcore antenna brothers!
Good luck, guys.
Try to squeeze in a promo spot while you're on air. We've got to start putting the word out.
Back across the water now. At least we're getting our exercise in today.
You can grab that amplifier, officer. And you start spooling up those cables. Maybe we can get it all in one go. Just plug that in there, would ya?
It's done. I believe we are ready.
Yeah, as ready as we're gonna be. Grab one of these can sets, both of ya. I've got it rigged so that we can all listen, but only your cop talk will broadcast. No idea what we're gonna hear when I turn this thing on, so be prepared for anything. No time.
A soft rustling. The snow...
That's your cue, lawman.
You're all alone out there, wandering a blasted heath, calling out to the night. But there is no reply, except for the buzzing of invisible machines. The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. He is nervous for your sake, of course, but also his own. Looking at him now, with both hands on his headphones, you see very briefly what the lieutenant must have been like when he first joined the RCM. Then he turns to you. He gives you a half smile, along with an almost imperceptible nod of encouragement.
Give it another go!
Nein, Liebling. Unseren Jungen nach Redepfosten. Einem dieser Dinger. Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oskar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit er auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist. Natürlich halten wir die Psychologen für vollkommen normal. Aber sie hat das Gefühl, seit seiner Rückkehr mit einem Fremden zusammenzuleben.
You can't make out a word of this gibberish.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind. Er kann doch auch nächstes Jahr zur Akademie gehen.
Me neither. Just keep trying. We'll get through. Again.
It's cold now.
A slight frisson at the point where your neck meets your spine. Something about the lieutenant's words directed at you, but not you.
I didn't say anything, Detective.
Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's been a long winter. Long and cold.
I can assure you it's not my twin brother, though it certainly does sound like me.
Sounds like your partner's being haunted by his past self. Or maybe he's trying to warn himself. From the future, most like. I don't know much about radios.
It's just a little bit of pale interference, Detective. A little eerie, perhaps, but perfectly explicable.
Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
You just have to embrace the spook.
But someone has been maintaining it.
Sunset, please acknowledge.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like...
This isn't looking good. The radio spookers are winning. Don't know. Says here, my guess.
This isn't exactly your area of expertise, though.
Someone has been maintaining...
Come on, son. This isn't anything but images of your body smashed against the pavement. Flood your... Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasingly familiar. Keep it together, champ. You've got this. And before you know it, you're safely perched atop the monument.
Yes, you're a natural gymnast, Detective. Now, would you like to do what you got up there to do?
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter it cannot slip. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it in years.
Well, what's it look like?
Huh. I don't know what to do then.
Hang on. I'm looking at Egg's checklist. It says here, muscle style. Good sensual...
The speed freak is right. The responsibility is yours and yours alone. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west. Something about his features seems bizarrely distorted. His imperious gaze leads you naturally to his outstretched hand, which, for some reason, strikes you as sadly empty. He seems ill-equipped for wherever he's going. A king should not go about unarmed. To your surprise, the saber's hilt.
There is no way that is going to make it.
Nah, every bit helps. We need this antenna to be as...
This faithful steed, the sky, through the screen, a few of the idle lorry drivers, and she yells a single word you can't make out, and then shuts the window with a violent thunk. You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling.
Huh? Sounds like that was a false move. Signal's even worse now. Probably because you broke it.
He's right.
I'm gonna turn all the dials.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling around an invisible point.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist seit...
Officer Sunset, please respond.
It's too much. Your eardrums are throbbing.
A long winter.
And then, nothing.
Try it now.
This is Warship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. Though we're still getting quite a bit of interference.
This is as good as it's gonna get. I'll keep us alive.
This is it. You're finally getting to speak. There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for 1 or 2 questions before the signal is lost.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public frequency. What is your request? A very important question with a very simple answer. Beyond that, it may be said that we are the inheritors and stewards of Dolores Day's legacy.
Dolores Day. So beautiful.
Immeasurable. It includes interstellar travel, 3 scientific revolutions, humanism, internationalism, the welfare state, and balance of terror theory. The role of the Moralist International is twofold: to buy humanity sufficient time to perfect itself, and to patiently guide it along the road while protecting it from ideological highwaymen and eschatologians. Let us answer your question with a question. Have you ever seen evening fall over the old town of the heart of the city? The old town is a district composed of weather marble, comprising thousands of columns and arcades arranged around a series of grand plazas. During the day, it's a beautiful sight, equal to any of the great cities of Pericarnassus. But as the sun sets, the shadows cast by those columns and arcades weave together to form an intricate ombre and lattice. When you see it, you suddenly understand. It was all built for you, for this very moment.
The name Ad Vesperascit means evening comes.
By thousands of people over many centuries, in keeping with a precise plan each believed in, but never expected to see the final completion of. Not only that, but you are also part of that centuries-long plan. When you cross one of the open plazas, your own shadows is effortlessly woven into the great lattice web, a deliberate synthesis of humanity, art, and the natural world. It is possible. We grew up there. We have seen the lattice with our own eyes. In Messina, of course. Not only was it the site of Dolores Day's crowning, it was also one of the great cities of the Dolorian era, a glorious expression of humanity's highest potential. Of course, such a city does not spring from nowhere, nor does it endure without effort. About 3,000 years. It is in all senses the most moderate and reasonable projection possible based on current science.
This is it. Final question, Tom.
Is everything alright? We lost the connection for a moment. Acknowledged. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the Liaison for Public Affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next hearing is scheduled for July.
She's got to be jerking your chain, right? You can't wait that long.
Not a problem. If this is a time-sensitive matter, you may file an emergency address request with the liaison for it. They typically respond within a few weeks. We're afraid that it's quite impossible, Officer Sunset. We cannot transfer you to the committee because we are not entrusted with that responsibility. We are simply the second signaler.
Then, why are you wasting time with her? You should demand to speak with...
You know, that is simply not how the command pyramid works. We can no more overrule our chief signaler than you could overrule your own precinct captain.
You're getting tangled by the big bad. Time to try...
This isn't about you. Not really. It may have been at a certain point, but you've let go of that perspective. This is about your responsibility to all of Revachon. Now, take a deep breath. Look upward. You don't have to bear the burden alone.
What? How do you know this? Officer, this is a very serious claim. Please describe the situation as succinctly as possible. We will forward your summary to the committee.
There's papers rustling in the background. She's clearing her desk, preparing to take notes. There, you've wedged your foot in the door. Now, if you can show the Coalition how much they're needed, they'll have no choice but to intervene. You have the facts. Just lay them out beneath the cold light of reason.
Please continue. We're listening. We have it. Is there anything else the committee should know?
Detective, before you answer that, I urge you to weigh your words extremely carefully.
You're not only speaking for yourself. He means to tell you, you're speaking for all of the RCM. What you say now will reflect on all of your half-brothers and sisters.
We're afraid we must ask you to repeat that, Officer Sunset.
Afraid? What is she afraid of? Her tone has shifted. She's no longer herself.
Acknowledge. Listen very carefully, officer. We're going to ask you a series of questions. it is imperative that you answer as directly and truthfully as you can. Do you understand? Good. First question. Are you currently in the vicinity of Sturgly, the North Arcade Islands, or near Pale Offshore Platform in Indico? Very good. Next question. Would you describe the phenomenon as internal to the Isola or external to the Isola?
What she means is, actually, you have no idea what those words could mean in this context.
Next question. At the time, did you experience sense objects? Yes. Examples may include sound, memory, light. Let's go on. Final question. Were you alone?
Yes, unquestionably, irrevocably alone. You are the Doom Speaker. It is your lot to ply these somnolent roads, declaring your lonely truth. You are part of a large family. You are never alone. There's no need to overthink this.
We repeat. Were you alone?
You hear the sound of a page ripping.
Thank you, officer. Please stand by while we transmit our summary.
A long winter.
Signals are starting to misalign.
Officer Sunset, this is Collision Warship Archer. Please acknowledge. Thank you for standing by. We are authorized to report the Committee of Responsibility for Rebel has acknowledged and accepted your request. They would like you to address your matter to the committee directly, as their earliest convenience. Local matters can wait. Coalition Shuttle Laurel is setting a course for your position. They will arrive momentarily. Done.
Snow again. It collects between the Bronze Horse's ears, along the bridge of the Bronze King's nose, and on the backs of your gloves.
No way! Big Ben's coming here!
The lieutenant adjusts his microphone and slowly looks up toward you.
Well, what now? You've accomplished your side task. You've contacted Coalition warship Archer. I suppose what I'm asking is whether we are about to lose you to the moral intern.
Beneath that surface query, a touch of self-doubt. The lieutenant isn't sure he can solve the murder without you.
Afraid of what, detective?
A little rhyme jingling in your mind's attic. Of the future, of the past, of all that is not made to last. The lieutenant takes a moment to compose his thoughts.
Detective, each of us has our part to play in the world. My part is to solve crimes. I am under no illusion that my role isn't a minor one in the scheme of things. But I embrace it because it's my role, and it's yours too, detective, whether you accept it or not.
The lieutenant's final words are nearly swallowed by the roar of the aerostatic's main rotors.
Officer Sunset, this is Coalition Warship Archer. We have been instructed to inform you that the Laurel arrived at your position. Please acknowledge.
No shit. How are they supposed to hear your acknowledgement over the thundering of their own rotors?
Thank you. The Committee of Responsibility for Rebel has authorized us to offer you... We are far past that point, officer. There is only one question now.
The roundabout, Martinez North, daytime. Across the plaza, a pair of seagulls fight over the remains of a chicken wing. The speed freak eyes you with a curious blend of awe and contempt. He's torn. There's nothing more softcore than the Coalition, according to his worldview. And yet, having summoned an aerostatic with your voice is one of the most hardcore feats imaginable. The lieutenant looks up toward you. He starts to open his mouth, then appears to think better of it. He's spoken his piece, he thinks. It's up to you now. You cannot leave. So much hangs in the balance.
Repeat that, officer. What do you mean, you can't? Are you being in... We have to say, this is extremely disappointing to hear, officer. What the consequences will be for your refusal to accept responsibility, we cannot say. For your sake, we pray they are not more than we all can bear. And now, we are updating our frequencies. We will not speak again. Disconnection 2, 1, après le monde, le gris.
And the line goes quiet. The lieutenant gives a long sigh as he removes his headphones. There's relief on his face as he turns toward you.
I think it's best for you to climb off the statue now, detective. Your real work...
There's a damp cold running up the insides of your thighs. Your legs have grown stiff. You've been up here quite a while. You look around. The strikebreakers are still shouting their slogans and waving their hand-painted signs. Beneath you, the lieutenant and the speed freak have begun disconnecting a few cables. You could stay a while longer if you wanted. Out on the bay, a pair of dinghies bob and roll in the waves. The breeze drags the voices of the fishermen toward the plaza, faint and indecipherable. Further out, a few dirty icebergs drift to and fro. Further still, at the outer edge of your recognizance, the ancient ruins of the sea fort lay piled on the horizon.
Everything all right, detective? Listen, I understand that you're disappointed that things did not turn out how you might have hoped. But you made the right decision, the more difficult decision, in my mind at least. Because I can see you're still agonizing over it. In my experience, when you make the wrong decision, you can tell right away. It's the right decisions that won't leave you alone.
Perhaps someday, the lieutenant will tell you about some of the decisions that won't leave him alone. But it won't be this day.
Now come on. We still have a long day ahead of us.
About time. You grab that amp, forget the cables. Need to leave some evidence of our antenna to inspire future generations.
What's one more trip across the waterlock?
All right, cop man. We've held up more than our share of this collaboration. I hope you recognise how much the hardcore underground came through for you.
If you want to show your appreciation, we can hardcore! Mutual aid!
Sure, you have to say that. I'll put this tech away later.
Bankruptcy sequence. It's easy. You just need to move on. Like a plague of locusts. Like a fucking plague. Failure is a core tenet of liberalism. When life closes a door, it opens a window. And if the fall is too steep, use the fire exit. Run to the roof. You always have that airship on the dock. The most important thing is to keep moving. Keep dreaming. The auditors cannot get to you if you keep running. Very, very fast. From one fuck-up to the next.
Deal! Yeah! Yeah! Too hardcore, in fact. It sucks up all the air.
Inside your chest, the heartbeat.
Yeah! Welcome. Oh! I don't know. Maybe. Yeah!
Oh, hey, man. It's good to see you.
You close your eyes and
But just imagine the moves you could pull. To this view.
puts a grin on your face just to think about it. Salvation.
Goodbye, officer. Yo, man. What's on your mind? Dead body, spirit, sure.
Yes, what is it?
The mother of human. You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable. Calling. Still again. Someone with...
Hello, Gerard speaking. What are you, like 5? Thanks for calling, asshole.
Phone. Hang. Disconnect tone. You see a slogan used.
Hello. Isn't this a fine morning? Sure. What? But of course.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer.
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
An old door.
It's military. The washerwoman.
officer. Care to play a game with? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. Yes. Officer. This coin-operated viewer. This coin-operated view. Why place a tourist attraction in the mid?
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and that statue on the intersection before something went sour. I suspect it was Evrard Skler's doing. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes. We should have done something about the Union 10 years ago.
Your money disappears into the curtains on the lenses shift. It looks, its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. Just an ordinary wall.
Hello again, officers. Have you... What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright. Sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing...
Could that girl have been little Lily? It's not a...
Could have been her. You're back. Good. What can I... More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
She's not even asking you anything.
Sounds like he has you running errands, Detective. Ah, yes.
With longing. Clear and simple longing.
Yes. I'm sad I'll never have the time, Detective. I've always wanted a dilapidating fishing village.
She is more defensive about it than usual.
Full of ghosts and ancient memories. Has this errand yielded a referral, you mean? Oh my.
The lieutenant does not say anything. But you hear the nylon of his jacket rustle as he looks.
My. What I'm hearing is you inspected a premises because you suspected, and in the process you turned up some information relevant to your investigation. Only from Evrard. Surprising.
Her bartering mind cannot fathom that you didn't ask anything in return.
Frankly, what was done was not pretty at all, but neither.
This seems serious.
I advise you to be very selective with what information you choose to share. This may have consequences beyond our line of sight.
Naturally, Detective. There are light. Of course, Detective.
It's you again. What is it?
Clausia is playing them like a fiddle. Tell them how bad they got played, and they'll tell you the truth. There are many ways to go about it. All of them really good.
What the hell are you talking about? Look around, cop. These men, a duck.
I don't know, boss. I'm always up for another suicide attempt.
Yeah, me too.
You won't hear it. That's enough for the circus now, officer. Let's do procedural questions, or even...
These working class oafs don't know how to talk about it.
Looking for some...
Right to what?
Hola, Wandering Man.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your...
Hear that? You did it the honest way. You got the real signatures, and now he's happy. Finally, answers. Ask away, son.
I did not, Harry. Although I am very, very glad he's dead. Why, a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1, and that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. You're not an ultra-liberal, Harry. Get the fuck out of here. Don't be a retard. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying. Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a It's already happening. 2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol. And they're all well motivated. At least the one...
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
Sure, some will go, but mark my words. The company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities.
Wow, a neurochemical, psychoactive labor uprising stroke.
The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column. We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his benefit, and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperidone.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share. And I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez. You know why you're such a good detective, Harry. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. I'm gonna unite them all into one economic...
Let's keep focusing on the drug trade. He was almost admitting to it.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you. You have no idea how much it means to me, because in many ways, you are that working man. We're way past specific you can bother Leonard with that. Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days. An old woman has it.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy.
Yes, the same one.
Union Boy's gonna help you fix it.
The neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debarders Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building.
Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, Near the old fish market on the coast. The one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did.
She will be there from 2200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems
great, Harry. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't... Let's hear it, Harry. Of course, Harry. I'm always happy to educate and... Very nice. Most certainly. By all means, Harry.
Coach physical instrument. Wait, how did you know all those hammer throw techniques? How do you know how to hold a discus? Or the world youth record in discus? Something doesn't add up here. This mushy thing between your ears didn't know the name of the city you're in, but it comes loaded with trivia about the correct chin position of a shot-put ball. Could it be that? Shut up, namby-pamby. This train of thought ends abruptly. It's leg day. Straighten your rhombus muscle. It's shirts versus skins. Take your shirt off, Namby. Your skins.
Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight Precinct. Just think about it for a second. You're a rage...
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional, but I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
He's right. There are no airtight theories, just paranoia. You've given it some thought. Now let it go. The bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag. A rifle, revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46mm from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you. The dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit the chamber. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache, only in working order.
What are you thinking? Okay, and? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around. I have to hand it to the monarchs. It's quite admirable that they took the advice of criminologists last century and banned the use of breech loaders in peacetime. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end. Imagine if everyone, Cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Let's find out. Next step, finding the gun itself.
All I'm wondering, man. How can I help? Los Ardis? They're sort of like you.
Is he actually comparing? The man whispers a jaunty tune.
The mercenary, eh? That's so. I haven't heard anything about them. He was an agent of... I ain't the murder...
Understood.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. We're negotiating... Aye. This stuff, they already covered. It's not enough. All of it. However, right now we want all the harbor work. No. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't. I have nothing against communists. They are honorable boyaderos. And they have good analysis. But my own code serves me well. If my code starts failing, a code can fail a man as well as a man can fail a code, then I will have to submit to a new one, which may well be communism. See, I am primarily a lazy person. I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. I guess you kind of get...
By that, you mean?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a harsh and disordered world, see? The old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. Appreciate it even. He is, personally, not too lavish. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a corrupt motherfucker. That would be a manipulative illusion. Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway. And moralism is the most corrupt of them all.
Not you would like to say. But them.
Sure. I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, having command of his time is the most important thing. It all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's a follower of a 500-year-old Franco-Nigerian Boyadero code, itself an appropriation of Vespertine cool. That of a noble peasant, or no. No. The man sits on the railing.
All I'm wondering, man.